It's Divorce TV, and we have three lovely guests for you. We've got Susan Cowe-Miller, health coach, as our expert this week. We've got Marie-Noelle Swiderski, who's coming back in a different guise to talk about marijuana, but a healthy form. And healing is with Lisa Jones of Headstrong Training. So first, we've got a little bit of news. This one is from The Guardian, and it says, "Unchain your wife, the Orthodox women shining a light on get refusal." So on Route 59 in Muncie, New York, an Orthodox Jewish enclave in upstate New York, there is a large billboard that says in big block letters, "David Wasserman, give your wife a get." A get is a document Orthodox Jewish men give their wives as the couple is divorcing. It seals the divorce according to religious law, meaning that the husband decides if and when the divorce is final. Without it, the woman cannot move on with her life. The billboard is meant to embarrass David Wasserman, who for more than 7 years has refused to give his wife, Nechama Wasserman, this document. If she doesn't receive it, she is considered an agona, a chained woman, because she remained chained to her former marriage. She's now trying a new tactic, public humiliation. Nechama's saga is not the only one being publicly aired. In the last 2 months, nearly a dozen Orthodox women have taken their cases public by using the online version of a billboard, social media. So Keshet Star, executive director for the Organisation for the Resolution of Agonot Ora, says at any one time she has about 75 cases. While women can also hold up divorce by refusing to accept a get that's given to them, 95% of Ora's cases involve men withholding them. Withholding the get is a way for a husband to maintain control. It is a way of manipulating Jewish law in order to retain power and control over your partner, Starr said. In the vast majority of the cases we work on, there is a prior history of pretty extensive domestic abuse. This is rarely the first abusive thing they've done. When people first hear about this issue, they think, well, why doesn't the woman just walk away, Starr adds. After all, if she's already divorced in secular court, there's nothing stopping her from legally remarrying. But leaving a religious community is a bigger deal than people think. It's giving up your entire way of looking at the world, your systems of meaning, your social and professional networks, your family relationships. It's an enormous cost. For someone to be faced with the options of either having this untenable situation or walking away from my community, those are pretty terrible options. Women aren't the only ones victimised in the divorce process, says Rabbi Goldberg. He said he has several friends in that situation and has heard of men withholding a get because they're afraid if they hand it over, they won't ever see their children. That's sometimes the instigator for why men act the way they do, Goldberg said. There's bad players on both sides. Secular courts can, however, enforce contracts like prenuptial agreements, and that's why some in the Orthodox community have been pushing for prenups for years. A typical prenup mandates that in case of divorce, the husband will provide the wife with a get, and if he doesn't, he could be forced to pay thousands of dollars a month, a financial penalty that a secular court could enforce. In the modern Orthodox community, this is routine, and rabbis won't do your wedding unless you sign one of these, said Michael Broyd, a law professor at Emory University School of Law. He says, the metaphor I use is, they're not a cure, but they're a vaccine, he said. So why don't all Orthodox Jews sign them? Well, why do people get polio? Why do people get smallpox? He says, because there are people out there who resist taking their vaccines. So we're not going to talk about vaccines, but it's actually quite an interesting analogy. And this is true. You don't have to be of the Jewish faith. Everyone should think seriously about prenups or postnups if you're already married, because you can avoid a lot of these very, very sticky situations that can come up. Our next story is quite different. It's in the Mirror. A woman files for divorce after co-worker finds husband's damning dating profile. After being alerted to her husband's dating profile, a woman went to search his car and says she found evidence, including a toothbrush, a second phone, and a change of clothes. Sharing the story on TikTok, the woman, known only as Alison, said that her husband had been spotted using online dating and listed he was going through a divorce in his bio. But this was news to Alison because, as far as she knew, she was still happily married. But all that was about to change as she began gathering evidence. Alison shared her story online, saying it all began when she found a text message to a woman on her husband's phone which read, "Good morning, how did you sleep?" She became suspicious, and soon things went from bad to worse, as a friend got in contact saying she had seen Alison's husband on online dating. Her video was viewed over 10 million times and received almost 2 million likes plus thousands of comments. Alison posted a follow-up video announcing that she would be getting a divorce from her husband. The key message for me from that is just it's from the other way around. Don't date people who put getting divorced on their profile, not because they might be lying, but it's because you should wait till they've done the divorce before you go out with them, is my advice. Last but not least, and this is a growing story. Our expert interview today is with Susan Cowe-Miller. You will have recognise her if you've seen the show a few times. She does some lovely healings and she does EFT tapping. But she does more than that. So we're going to be talking about some of her other skill sets. Welcome, Susan.
Hi, nice to see you.
So it'd be really good to get stuck in actually talking about one of the things that I tell people about that you do, but to be honest, I'm not 100% clear on, so I'm looking forward to this conversation. What is matrix reimprinting?
Okay, matrix reimprinting is a development from EFT, developed by Carl Dawson, and matrix reimprinting is taking EFT, releasing stress, to a different level, because we work with EFT. We're reducing stress, we're reducing anxiety, we're reducing fear, all the negative traits. But while we're doing that, we're saying, when can you remember that happening? So with matrix reimprinting, we immediately suggest that we work with the younger self once the memories come up. And we work with the younger self, the echo, we call them an echo in our world. And we, all going well, we work with the younger self. Now, if it happens to be a very big trauma, then at all times great care is taken so that the echo is secure. And we basically were tapping on our echo, who's holding all the information that has caused. It's a bit like chronic illness that I work with. It's what's caused this chronic memory, pain, discomfort. And then once we've got the younger self, who might be very young, and actually we can work in the womb, you can work in past lives. That's not a speciality, but it's something that I can do. And when we've got to the root cause of what on earth's caused this fear, this sadness, this disappointment, this rage, whatever it is, we say to the younger self, who's not got any hang-ups that we carry, the older we get, the more hang-ups we have, the younger self says, okay, when they're given the opportunity, I'm going to re-imprint, they don't use the word re-imprint, I'm going to make this go away, I'm choosing to let this go away, and I want to have a new story. So then we energize and imprint a new story. So almost magically the fear of the initial incident has gone. The energy's just not there anymore. The stuffing's taken out of it.
So without dumping on counselling in any way, because I know you've got counselling training.
Yeah.
What would you say the big difference between work that some deep work someone might do with a psychotherapist compared to using this? How would they use this tool in relation to that? So they are dealing with some deep trauma.
They would, for example, correct me when I go off tangent. They would have to work with a specialist for the matrix re-imprinting. People can tap. If they have a knowledge, they can do some tapping. Working with the professional is the way to go. So, and now I've sidetracked myself. I can't.
Well, just because, like, so say if you're working with a psychotherapist and on some kind of deep stuff. I mean, for a start, you would normally be working on something within your own memory and lifespan. So with matrix re-imprinting, you can go quite a bit before that. So if you've dealt with your stuff now and you've still got problems, there's a good chance there's other stuff that needs dealing with. So I can understand that. But what I'm just wondering what other difference there are between someone doing psychotherapy and someone doing matrix re-imprinting.
Talking about from the counselling aspect, counselling is gives people a lot of help, but it's a talking therapy. The work I do is energetic. It's releasing at a cellular level stuff that causes harm further down the line physically. It's releasing. And I can equate my work as an energy healer, stroke psychotherapist. I know they can compare it to counselling in that it's an energy release rather than talking yourself through. Finding your own answers is fine, but it's still, the energy's still held within, and that's where all the damage gets done.
Yeah, and I know from personal experience, if you hold in anger, you hold in stress, it comes out in uncomfortable ways, and so it's actually even if someone's getting support from a psychotherapist, it's an added tool, and for some people maybe all that they need in some cases, depending on the level of trauma, obviously.
Yes. When I'm working with someone, a lot of us who are matrix re-imprinted trained start with our EFT, but almost immediately we go into an echo. Now there can be layers of echoes as there are layers of anger. So we work through it at that pace. There is no, I hate to disappoint people, seldom there's a quick fix. Work needs done. I was just explaining that yesterday to someone. I say I have one session, but I will offer one session for people to experience it. But there's layers of work need done with trauma. and with stress. And for example, to equate it to divorce, when people have blocks in place, when they've got fixed ideas about a route they know they need to go down, or they think they need to go down, and they think it should be legal or financial first, for example, potentially they may not be in the correct head space. So working with emotions or anger and calming and quietening that allows better decision making to be made when they find out about all the legal and financial, the things that one thinks is important. I know when I made the final decision to divorce, I finally knew that was it. I was divorcing. And I was fascinating. My feelings, whatever they were shut down. As it happened, I didn't have to go through the divorce because of circumstances. But I would have been very focused on getting what I deserved, or that would have got in the way. So sorting out emotions, releasing and having an understanding that calmness and some element of restraint while conversations are going on or looked into is vital, because you get so many more opportunities when you're in a better space.
You are both able to embrace more sort of smarter options, more peaceful options usually, but
Sure.
also you can be more strategic and think more clearly, and that's really important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what I would say. That is what I'm saying. You're opening different doors. You're not just got a tiny little door. So it's EFT and matrix reimprinting go hand in hand, and it's extremely beneficial to release at cellular level.
Because with the EFT, you can do some quick fixes, can't you? And I know
yes.
that you,
Yes, I was going to say that EFT with basic learning, there's two ways to use EFT. One is at deeply transformational level with someone like me, but there's the quick fix, and the quick fix takes the steam, the strength out of your intense, whatever the emotion is you're feeling. So you can sit. It's absolutely wonderful for a quick fix, because you can sit and in 5 or 10 minutes, you've worked wonders. You've released the energy. You think, wow, thank goodness, I can go and deal with this.
And that might be because you've got to have a conversation with your very, very, very difficult ex, or you're going to go into a mediation and your history has been being bullied, and you need to boost your courage a little bit and stay calm and not be triggered. So these are very practical things that people can experience quite quickly. And I would encourage people to take advantage of that, because Susan, you're going to be very good, aren't you, and put your links in all the comments, because I highly recommend, when it's no good me talking about strategies and peaceful ways unless people can get into the right headspace and use that information and use those concepts, and Susan can help you move that forwards. But thank you for explaining more about matrix reimprinting and that deeper work that can be done. That's fabulous. Thank you very much, and I shall see you in the Secret Divorce group. Bye-bye. So look out for those on this shortly. Susan will be putting those on there, and she gives a generous taster session, as she pointed out. You can either use the QR code you saw or just click on the links that she'll be sending you. Right, quick bit of learning. So my little bit of the masterclass today, we're on love, protecting the children, which is part of the Calm Seas. It's the last section in the Divorce Discovery Divorce Masterclass journey, which you can find in the Best Way to Divorce app, of course, where all the good resources are. And just a little bit here on protecting the children. So what happens to the children when your emotional state allows for the divorce to become nasty? Just what we've been speaking about, actually. So the consequences to the children are many, but we are concerned here with your emotional and mental well-being. So having said that, it's worth knowing what can happen if you don't take action now to ease your own pain and to find ways to not let your psychological state create even more suffering for you and for your children. And in further weeks we'll talk a little bit more about that. So when you go to the gym, when you eat well, you sleep well, or you have a bit of EFT or a matrix reimprinting, and if you work with a coach or a counsellor, you're building your resilience and protecting your mental health. Your kids need you sane. You will make better decisions and be less likely to get sucked into a nasty, toxic divorce. So look after yourself. And our shared story is one way that you can also look after yourself. And we have Marie-Noelle here today, and she's going to be talking about cannabis, but not the one you smoke. There's another cool thing you can do with it, which is all about health. So tell us a little bit more. You're going to share some stories around that, aren't you, Marie-Noelle?
Yes, I am. So the last time I was here, I was explaining how I'm an interior architect and I obviously get involved in people's homes, and that it provides privileged access to their daily life, obviously. So a client of mine who was in the throes of a very intense and troublesome divorce was finding more and more that sleep was scarce, anxiety was high, focus was difficult to come by. And as you say, the atmosphere at home was difficult with the children. It was hard to be there for them, let alone for themselves, the clients. So in passing, I mentioned, have you thought of hemp oil, or CBD oil, as it's also known? And the client's first reaction was, well, I don't want to be high. I'm not into drugs. Is that thing legal anyway? And that was the first part of the demystifying, which is that cannabis is like a big umbrella, but marijuana, which you mentioned earlier, is a plant that is very high in THC, and it's completely different to hemp. It's like a lemon and a lime, basically. And so the hemp has 144 other cannabinoids and very little, if any, THC in the products that I was suggesting that client take. And so past that first little lesson, the client tried it, and it's basically provided as a food supplement. So it's nothing, there's no medical aspect to it. And taken every day as a food supplement, as you would vitamin D or C or something to promote your well-being, everything became balanced. Sleep came more easily. There was an overall calmness and a focus that allowed everyday life to basically be dealt with in a much more measured, much more manageable way. And the moods were more stable. Not to say that the difficult things were not difficult, but they could be taken as they came, with a calmness, as you say, a confidence. And basically it allowed anxiety to come back down and things to be dealt with on a much more even keel. It was truly a game changer.
And so all of those results sound like having a nice glass of red wine or a bit of puff, and actually, but you're not in any way under the influence of anything, are you? So what's actually happening to the nervous system or to the body that's getting these positive results, even when you're in a very stressful situation?
So basically, hemp oil and the various cannabinoids that are present in the hemp oil. And again, we're ignoring THC, which is the only cannabinoid that is psychoactive. And so the hemp oil that I'm talking about has 0 THC. So you could pass a drug test, really. There's no fragment of anything left that's psychoactive. And these cannabinoids, they nourish a system that research has now shown exists in our bodies. We produce cannabinoids, which was unknown to many people until a few years ago, when the kind of medical marijuana revolution started. And so we have what's called an endocannabinoid system, which means we have women in breast milk produce the highest level of cannabinoids, but everyone, every single human being produces cannabinoids, but we only produce about 15% of what we need. Mm-hmm. Until the 30s, when the Marijuana Tax Act passed, and hemp and marijuana were lumped as a bad plant by the US government, humans had a lot of cannabinoids in their diet because hemp was a very big cash crop. So cattle, chickens absorbed cannabinoids, hemp, and therefore by eating a chicken breast, an egg, a steak, we ended up absorbing cannabinoids unbeknownst to ourselves. And since the 30s, there's a known and an observed and an analyzed resurgence of inflammatory disease, autoimmune diseases, degenerative diseases like autism, arthritis, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. And there's been a direct link to the fact that we are depleted in cannabinoids. So really taking hemp oil is fueling your body as if you were to put good fuel into your car. It's needed. Your body cannot produce its optimum well-being without it. And it regulates your hormones, your mood, your sleep, your appetite, and your metabolic rate. So it says it all, really, is that your body needs it. And truly, it's a game changer.
And just before you go, that's fascinating. I didn't realize all that. And my last question is, with long COVID becoming obviously such a big issue with many of the symptoms that you've just said, do you think this could be a sort of a lifeline for people who are suffering from long COVID and those kind of symptoms?
The thing is that it's a product that is universal. Babies can take it, elderly people can take it, adults can take it, athletes take it, pets take it. So truly, you don't need to have a condition to take it. But if you do have something that inherently is debilitating or really affecting your quality of life, your body can only thrive on it. And it can only really help to create this compounding effect of feeding it the best possible natural 100% organic product that is allowing you to function like, optimally.
Be on top form.
Exactly.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. That was absolutely fascinating. And please pop some links in on all the platforms so people can find out more.
Thanks so much,
Susie. For now.
Bye.
And that was fascinating, and love anything to do with health and making people feel better. The www.bestwaytodivorce.online will take you to the app on any phone. It'll also take you to the app on your desktop as well, and there's lots of good things in there. As always, I invite you to join the Secret Divorce group. You get 30 days free and it's cheap as chips after that. That is where Susan's in there, who was there earlier. Lots of my divorce squad are in there, and I'm in there, and we have a monthly meetup, and there's a chat, and there's lots of really, really useful tools. So come and join us and see us in the Secret Divorce group. And we have 2 places left, only 2, I'm afraid, on this workshop that's coming up on the 17th of June. So if you're in the UK, it's useful to anyone, but it's particularly useful if you're getting divorced in the UK, come along and join in. I'm now going to introduce you to Lisa, who is going to do something lovely with us. But you're not a sort of everyday, you do this healing thing. And I've had a few lovely guests on this, but you have this whole other life, don't you? So tell us who you are first, and then what you're going to do with us.
So I'm Lisa. Nice to meet you all. So I'm a psychotherapist and mental health consultant by day. Basically, that sounds very dodgy, doesn't it? So I deliver training in organisations and schools and teach people preventative measures. I'm really passionate about prevention rather than intervention in terms of, as you were talking about earlier, building resilience and promoting positive mental health and all of those wonderful things. But I also have a background in performing arts, which I know we share in common. So yes, I also love to... part of the reason I love training so much is because it's like being on stage, and it's working with people and helping people boost confidence and all sorts of things, which I just absolutely love doing. So I'm a kind of a fellow thespian, actor, dancer, performer with another hat on.
And we can do so many things, us girls. We're so talented. So what
True.
tonight, for men and women alike who are sitting comfortably and ready for their healing, what are you? What's going to happen to us?
I am going to take people through a guided visualization, basically for them to choose a scenario of their choosing. It's based on kind of, people worry a lot, and especially, of course, in stressful situations. And what this is, so it's not a relaxation, it's a guided visualization for somebody to be able to imagine the positive outcome or scenario that they want. So that might be anything from being on holiday, it might be a presentation at work they're feeling nervous about, it might be a conflict resolution, for example, that somebody's playing over and over and worrying about. So it's an opportunity to understand how powerful our minds are, and that we can do this wonderful visualization that is also relaxing at the same time, and just teach our brains and our minds that actually we can imagine a positive outcome and feel the benefits of that.
And all the top athletes, they all do these visualizations. This is for people who haven't done this. They really should try this. This is a fantastic tool and a learning. So thank you, Lisa. I'm going to give you the stage now. And when you get to the end, just make it obvious so I know to come back in. Just sort of say goodbye to everyone or something.
Yes,
so I shall now give you the stage.
Thank you. I'm just going to set my timer so I don't run over too much for you all. Okay. So as I was just explaining, visualization or brain rehearsal or mental rehearsal, there are many different terms for it, is an incredibly simple yet powerful and effective tool to use in everyday life, but especially if there is a goal you're working towards, or if there's a particular situation coming up that you're feeling nervous or anxious about, and you just want to practice it in your own mind and to visualize the outcome that you desire, so the positive outcome that you desire. That's really, really important, because often people get so caught up in worrying, and worrying is actually a form of mental rehearsal. Worrying is when we repeat the same thing, or we play out certain scenarios over and over again, and what if questions, what if this happens, what if that happens, and we effectively, what we're doing is we're visualizing, we're mentally rehearsing an outcome that we don't want. So the aim of tonight is to practice visualizing an outcome that we do want, and a positive outcome. Okay, and the fun fact with our brains is when we are feeling something, so when we have a feeling or emotion with something, we can't actually differentiate between whether or not it's real or imagined, past, present, or future. And that's why visualization is so powerful. When we are imagining things, we have the same physiological response as if it were happening. So like I said, it's a very simple but very effective tool to use. So that's the explanation. I hope you are somewhere comfortable. If you're not, I would just invite you just to take a moment to get comfortable. If you're sat down, then I'd recommend that you put your feet on the floor, so feel your feet grounded on the floor. Okay, and be comfortable. If you need to lean back on something, do. Equally, if you want to do this lying down, you can. The most important thing is that you just feel comfortable where you are. Okay, and I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if that feels safe and comfortable to do so. Okay, and I'd like you, before we start, just to think of a scenario that you would like to visualize as a positive outcome. So whether that is, like I was saying, whether that is you have a presentation coming up that you're feeling nervous about, whether that is that you have a meeting with somebody, a conflict resolution, it might be a difficult conversation that you're going to be having with somebody. It might be something completely different, and you want to visualize yourself on a wonderful holiday feeling completely calm and relaxed and without any stress or tension at all. So I'm going to leave that to you to decide. So if you could think of something that you would like to go well with the positive outcome, think of that. So if there's something that's been playing on your mind that you've been overthinking about and kind of repeating that would be a good thing for us to practice with a different outcome, a more positive outcome. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so just take a moment, just think about something that you would like to visualize that has a very positive outcome and that will elicit a positive feeling as well. Okay, just allow yourself a moment to feel comfortable. Okay, and I'm going to invite you, if you haven't already, to close your eyes and just bring your focus and your attention inwards to your breath. Okay. And we're going to take a couple of deep breaths just to get us feeling nice and relaxed before we start this process. We're on an inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth with a sigh. And just feel that tension and any stress melting away, allowing yourself permission to feel more calm and relaxed now. And we'll repeat that a couple more times, breathing in through the nose and exhaling through the mouth, feeling that tension melting away. And just notice your body on the chair or the floor, the surface beneath you, feeling completely supported and grounded now, allowing you to come inwards and just focus on my voice. If there are other noises around you, there might be other distractions, but just take this time to come inwards, focus on my voice as we go through this visualization together. So in your own time now, just think of the scenario that you would like to have a positive outcome with. And what I want you to do now is just imagine where that is. So where are you physically? What's your environment? Are there other people there? Are you outside? Or are you indoors somewhere? What's the weather like? What are you wearing? So take a moment to pay real attention to the detail of this image, of this picture. Really focus on everything that you can see. And are there any colours that stand out to you in this image? And if there are, can you make them even brighter? Can you turn the dial up on the brightness of this image now? So see what you see and notice any sounds around you. What can you hear? Are people talking? Maybe there's laughter. Hear what you hear. And see yourself now in that place with that clear image, seeing what you see and hearing what you hear. And just notice how you feel now. And if there's something that you want to feel, I want you to think about that feeling now and really concentrate on that feeling. So maybe you want to feel confident. Maybe you want to feel calm. Maybe you want to feel assured. And just think about that feeling now and notice where that is in your body. And really bring your focus and attention onto that feeling. Feeling where it is in your body. And just have a look and notice, are there any colours associated with that feeling? Does it have a particular texture? Is it fluid? Does it move? Or is it solid? And really focus on that feeling now. Focus on all of the feelings that come with that in your body, giving yourself permission to feel how you want to feel. And now see yourself in this image, feeling how you feel, hearing what you hear and seeing what you see. And just be in this moment and watch this scenario play out exactly as you want it to play out, with the positive outcome in mind. And just notice how effortless and easy it is for you to do that now, in your mind's eye, with the power of your mind and your brain, and this visualization and mental rehearsal, and see that scenario playing out. And if you can, I'm going to turn up that dial a little bit more to make the image even brighter, even more focused, the sounds even clearer, the feeling even stronger now. And as you breathe in, just allow that feeling to permeate through your entire being. And as you exhale, just relaxing into this feeling, enjoying it, being present in this moment now, seeing the outcome that you want and desire that is positive for you and for those around you. And when you're ready, just start bringing yourself back into the room, back into the moment, still enjoying that wonderful feeling, and just become aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your breathing. Start to move your fingers and toes. Bring some sensation back into your body now. Take a deep breath in, energizing breath in, exhaling. And when you're ready, just open your eyes, knowing that how easy it is for you to visualize the positive outcome that you desire, and that you can feel that whenever you choose to. And the more you practice it, the easier that will become. And the easier that becomes, the more likely that you will have that positive outcome. Thank you very much for joining in with me this evening.
That was beautiful, thank you. I've had some lovely, lovely thoughts, which I now believe will happen. I hope everyone who did that, yeah, if you can't imagine and see and envision beautiful things happening, they don't really have much of a chance. So it's a very important place to start. And remember, you can always rewind this and listen to that again until you have created an entirely perfect and wonderful world for yourself to inhabit. And it does work. It's really, really powerful stuff. So on the battlefield of divorce, in the war of family separation, always make peace your weapon of choice.